My sponsor Rock Bottom is currently running a special deal. Head on over to rockbottomcoins.com and use code ZERK at checkout for a 30% off your order.
The whole thing wobbin', wobbin', wobbin'. When I come around, got the whole thing wobbin'.
What's going on, guys? It's Zerksy coming at you today with another YouTube video, and today I'm going to be ranking the NFL quarterbacks. I've seen a ton of other Madden YouTubers and in general YouTubers doing these, and I actually think this is really fun to do. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you might know I sometimes tweet out some top 10 lists. Most of the time, though, I say this. They're trolls. Don't take anything I say on Twitter seriously when it comes to like ranking people, because I just like to troll in there. This one, I'm going to be 100% serious with this and try to give you guys my personal opinion on this. And hopefully, if you guys enjoy these types of videos and you guys want to do this with maybe a different position, or like you want to rank every NFL team or anything like that, anything you guys can think of, let me know down below. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and rank the NFL starting quarterbacks. So, starting off here, we're going to start with Alex Smith, because obviously he's the first person on this list. With Alex Smith, I honestly feel like this one is going to be pretty easy. He is the definition, if you ask me, of average. I think Alex Smith is like literally just average. He doesn't make many mistakes though. He's very conservative with the ball. He's a game manager. He's never gonna make some crazy throws. You can see the difference between him and say Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City with that offense and what they really do with that offense once they got rid of Alex Smith. I feel like he's average. You could argue you could say above average. I mean, right now, though, he's obviously coming off that injury, and we don't even know if he's actually going to ever play again. So I'm going to keep him as average for now. And next up is going to be Josh Allen. Now, with Josh Allen, right, so this tier list is below average, unknown, average, above average, borderline elite, and elite. I'm going to put him in unknown. Honestly, I don't think he's average just yet. I don't think that he is a bad quarterback, or at least he will be a better quarterback as time goes on. He's actually a really good scrambler. I feel like some people don't understand that he rushed for a lot of yards in his rookie season. It's just his passes were very inaccurate. There are some clips that I've seen very bad, but he has incredible arm strength and incredible arm talent to where he could potentially, I wouldn't ever say he will be a borderline elite quarterback. Could he develop into an above average? I will say yes. I feel like Buffalo has a lot of hope with Josh Allen. I just really don't think that he's there just yet. Next up is going to be Baker Mayfield. I am super excited to see this year Baker Mayfield with Jarvis Landry, with OBJ, the rest of that offense. I am so excited to see it. And I gotta say, Baker Mayfield, I am super excited to see this. So with Baker Mayfield, I'm going to put him, honestly, I'm going to put Baker in, this is going to be so tough. I'm going to put him in above average because I feel like Baker Mayfield is an above average quarterback. He's not borderline elite status yet, but he is an above average quarterback in the NFL. I will definitely say that. Baker Mayfield's an absolute stud. He will definitely be talked about as, you give him 2 years, I think he might be in the top 5 quarterback conversation, especially when he's got all those weapons on offense. He is going to absolutely dominate the NFL. He's feeling dangerous. Next up is going to be Big Ben. Now, this one might make some people mad, honestly. Big Ben, in my opinion, is definitely still a top 10 NFL quarterback. For him to be considered elite, I'm only going to put the most elite of elite quarterbacks in the elite. So you'll see who I'm going to consider there. So Big Ben is going to be borderline elite for me. Really, elite is going to be like the superior quarterbacks. This list, the way they have this set up, the elite is going to be like the superior. He is an elite quarterback for me, but he's not the top tier quarterback. He obviously led the league in passing yards, but he's also had some terrible games. It just happens with Big Ben, and obviously he's coming towards the end of his career here. Next up is going to be Drew Brees, and if you ever see a list with Drew Brees not being an elite, you should automatically dislike the video because that is absolutely terrible. Drew Brees is by far one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He was in the MVP consideration, so with that, you could technically say he was a top 2 quarterback this year between him and Patrick Mahomes. I just really don't think that there's any way to take about it. He's a top 3 I would say, NFL QB right now. Now, next up is going to be Cam Newton. Now, Cam obviously is coming off a shoulder surgery. I have to say, I'm a big Cam Newton fan. I am super excited to see what he is going to do this year with that offense. And you can tell he's playing hurt basically all last year. So with Cam, I really hope he returns to his MVP form. I would love to see that. I am going to put Cam right now at his current state. This is so tough. I'm going to put him in above average. I think that he is borderline elite. Like, he's almost borderline elite. It's just playing, I'm going to base this off of how he played last year. He didn't play up to borderline elite status. Once he comes back off this shoulder surgery, though, he's going to be an absolute monster. I definitely think Cam could potentially be a top 10 quarterback. You could even say he's a top 10 quarterback, honestly, probably is. But I would not put him in borderline elite just yet. I think he's above Baker Mayfield in terms of quarterbacks. Once he comes back off this shoulder surgery, though, I am super excited to see how he's going to play. Next up is going to be Derek Carr. And with Derek Carr, he was an MVP candidate a couple of years ago, but Derek Carr's play has seriously dropped off in recent years. I believe he was, what was he, number 1 or number 2, I think, for interceptable passes, or no, risk-taking plays, like plays that should have been intercepted and just bad plays in general. So Derek Carr, I want to put him as average. I think he's honestly about, Alex Smith level. I mean, he's not as conservative with the ball, but he's definitely a solid passer. I want to see how he does with Antonio Brown, and if he does good with AB this year, then we'll have to see. Next up is going to be Kirk Cousins. Now, as a Cowboys fan, I got to see a lot of Kirk Cousins, and with Kirk, I think this one is pretty obvious here. He's an above-average quarterback. Now, he's not an elite QB. I don't think he'll ever be an elite quarterback. He is not good in primetime games. He can be an above-average QB at times, and he can be a not so good quarterback at times. I mean, I've seen some crazy throws. Like this year when he played the Packers and he had that amazing throw. I think it was to Thielen down the sideline for the touchdown. That was crazy. He can definitely make some very good throws. I don't think he was worse when Minnesota paid him, obviously, and fully guaranteed at that. But he's definitely above average quarterback. This one is pretty obvious. Jameis Winston, he's below average. That is my first below average QB. I don't like Jameis Winston, how he plays. I thought he had really good potential his rookie season, but he's honestly not good. Like, he got benched. They were switching between him and Ryan Fitzpatrick a lot. So, between him and Ryan Fitzpatrick, I mean, Winston is not very good. He just chucks it up a lot. There are so many plays, like his best play in the NFL was when he scrambled around, like 3 defenders, chucked it up, and Mike Evans caught it in coverage. That's like his best play. So, Jameis Winston, he's definitely below average. I don't even know if he will be the Bucs starting quarterback come next year. I don't know how he's going to play out. Next is going to be Dak Prescott. Now, I bet as a lot of you people think, because I'm a Cowboys fan, you think I'm going to overrate Dak. Not true. Dak Prescott, to me, as a Cowboys fan speaking, you can take a look at the stats. Some people are probably going to like, oh, he's going to put him in borderline elite. No, Dak Prescott is above average. If I had to rank him between these quarterbacks, though, he is the lowest of, no, I'll put him above Kirk Cousins. He is the second lowest of all above average quarterbacks in the NFL. He is definitely pretty solid. He's not worth $30 million a year. He's not a top 10 QB in the NFL. I will say that as a Cowboys fan, but he can definitely make some plays. He can be a playmaker at times, and if him and Amari Cooper really get it kicking this year, could he be a top 10 QB? Potentially. I think he could be top 10. I'm not going to rank Dak as a top 10 QB, though. Next up is going to be Sam Darnold, and once again with Sam Darnold, you could potentially put him, in my opinion, at average. I'm going to put him here as unknown. He's kind of like Josh Allen. Didn't really have the most weapons around him in his rookie season, and now he's going to have Le'Veon Bell. So we'll have to see exactly how he plays with Le'Veon Bell, but with him, he's an unknown. Next up is going to be Eli Manning, and once again, Eli Manning, I'm going to put him in below average. I feel like he's actually slightly below average. Like, he's not average, but he's like slightly trash. Is there like one for that? Not below average, but like slightly garbage? That's Eli Manning. He's not very good. Wasted OBJ's prime, basically. Or I guess OBJ is still technically in his prime. But he wasted a lot of OBJ's good years. Not a very good quarterback. He's going to be out in the NFL very shortly. And I'd say probably after this year. This year is probably Eli Manning's last year. I would be very shocked if he even made it through this year without being replaced by Daniel Jones. And next up is going to be Ryan Fitzmagic. He's on the Dolphins this year, but obviously with Josh Rosen there, I don't think he'll actually be starting. I am going to say Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's so tough. He's not average, but he's not below average. He's like in between those. So I guess I'm going to put him in unknown, even though he's not really unknown. He's just like Matt. You know, like sometimes you can have some really good games, and other times you have really bad games. He's not a starting quarterback. He's a solid backup. So I'm going to put him at there. I feel like the unknown should actually be like backup / you don't really know yet. So I'm going to put him in Ryan Fitzpatrick in that category. Next up is going to be Nick Foles. And I have to say, I'm not too confident in Nick Foles heading into the Jags. I'm not sure how he's going to play over there, but based off of his playoff success and how he played in recent years, I feel like I have to give him at least some respect here. And I guess it's tough. Average or above average, it's really tough to say. I feel like because of how he did in the playoffs, I have to put him in above average, but he's going to be my lowest ranked above average quarterback. I feel like he's not going to be that great in Jacksonville, honestly, but because of just how he played and how he won the Super Bowl MVP, I have to put him in above average. Next up is going to be Jared Goff, and with Jared Goff, I feel like a lot of people can agree with me on this. He's not an elite NFL quarterback yet. He did lead the Rams to the Super Bowl, of course, but he had a lot of help on that offense with Sean McVay and, of course, Todd Gurley, Brandon Cooks, Robert Foster. An amazing offense, but he's borderline elite. I'd say he's above... I'd say he's below Big Ben. It's tough to say there, but I'd say he is borderline elite. Next up is going to be Matty Ice, and I feel like this might make some people mad, but with Matty Ice, I am going to put him in the elite quarterbacks. I feel like he is a very elite quarterback in the NFL. Matty Ice, man. It's just Matty Ice. When him and Julio Jones get clicking, except for touchdowns, they can really absolutely dominate a team. So Matt Ryan, I feel like definitely deserves to be in the elite quarterback conversation. He is, obviously, he was an MVP candidate. He won the MVP, so he's got to be an elite quarterback. Next up is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, Jimmy G didn't really get to play that much this year because he tore his ACL, but before that, the season before, he was undefeated as the 49ers starter, and with Jimmy G, it's really tough to say. I feel like this one is an unknown because he's like in between above average and average because you really haven't seen him play a full season and have opponents actually have some tape on him here. So I'm going to put him in, I guess, average for now. But he's going to be like my top tier average quarterback. He's not above average, just... This one's tough. Honestly, you know what? I'm going to put him in above average. I'm going to put him above average, but I think I'm going to put Nick Foles ahead of him. I can't put him in average because I feel like he is slightly above average, but we just don't have enough tape on him to see exactly how good of a quarterback he can be. Could he be borderline elite? We'll have to see after this season what he does with that offense, but I really like Jimmy G. Next up is going to be Joe Flacco, and like a lot of quarterbacks on this list, Joe Flacco, he's like low tier. He's not even average. He's unknown. He's like right below average, but he's not, Eli Manning or Jameis Winston level. He will be replaced this year. Next up is going to be Case Keenum, who obviously had a great season with the Vikings and then went to the Broncos and did not play very good. Case Keenum can give you some pretty solid games though. So with Case Keenum, I'm actually going to put him right here in average. Probably, I'd say behind Alex Smith, honestly. He can give you some good games, but he's never going to be a top-tier quarterback. Lamar Jackson is coming in next, and I have to say, I love Lamar Jackson. I can't wait for this kid to develop much more as a passer, and he is going to be an absolute stud. So with Lamar Jackson, I'm actually going to put Lamar Jackson in the average, but he's going to be like top-tier average. I think he's like almost above average, and once he develops more as a passer, he's going to be very, very, very good. Next up is Phillip Rivers, and with Phillip Rivers, honestly, he is like an MVP dark horse candidate every single year, and in my opinion, one of the most underrated players in the NFL, Phillip Rivers is an elite quarterback. Next up is going to be Andrew Luck, and he, of course, won the Comeback Player of the Year, and Andrew Luck is by far, in my opinion, one of the most underrated QBs in the NFL, just kind of like Phillip Rivers. I feel like not a lot of people talk about him, and yes, he is going to be in my elite quarterback conversation. He could very well be an MVP candidate this year. Next up is going to be Marcus Mariota, and with Marcus Mariota, once again, kind of injury prone this last year, and when he did play, he never was anything too spectacular. So with Mariota, I'm going to put him in average, but I'm going to put him above Case Keenum. Now, next up is going to be Mitch Trubisky, which I know a ton of Chicago Bears fans are super excited about. I feel like Matt Nagy has done a great job with that offense. I definitely like how Trubisky developed this year, especially that game versus the Patriots. They almost pulled out the win. Definitely very, very impressive game there. And in general, a very impressive season by Mitch Trubisky. So Trubisky is going to go in the above average quarterback list. I think he's right next. It's tough to put him here. Kirk Cousins is pretty good. I'd say Mitch is maybe slightly better than Kirk. At this point, I feel like if you switch the offensive coordinators, though, maybe Kirk Cousins is a little bit better than him. So, you know what? I'm going to put him behind Kirk Cousins for now, but Mitch Trubisky is definitely above average. And honestly, I don't think I have to say anything about this. Patrick Mahomes, elite, and probably, I mean, he won MVP, so I guess you have to make him the best quarterback in the NFL. Next, we have Andy Dolan, and honestly, I don't see Andy Dolan making the Bengals roster over the course of the next couple years. I feel like they're going to eventually move on from him. So with Andy Dolan, I'm actually going to put him, he's like average, but he's like low tier average at this point. I feel like you put him above Case Keenum and like right behind Marcus Mariota, in my opinion. And of course, we have Russell Wilson coming up next. And with Russell Wilson, I'm going to put Russell like right behind Matty Ice and in front of Phillip Rivers, which by the way, I have to redo this because I feel like Andrew Luck is probably right there behind Russell Wilson, but this is kind of how the list is looking out. Next up is going to be Aaron Rodgers, and this one's pretty obvious again. Aaron Rodgers is definitely in the elite quarterback conversation every single year. I'm going to put him right behind Drew Brees, who of course was an MVP candidate. And we have Josh Rosen next, which honestly, Josh Rosen, I mean, this is, again, an unknown, kind of fits well with the rest of the players. He could potentially be above average or average. I'm not sure if he'll ever develop into an elite quarterback. I really didn't watch a lot of Cardinals games, being completely honest with you guys, but Giants fans were super excited. They wanted to try and get him. I know Dolphins fans are very excited about him as well, so I'm going to keep my eye on him this year. Next up is Matt Stafford, and Matt Stafford, to me, is like slightly above average. I will put him above Jimmy Garoppolo right now. I feel like a lot of people disrespect Matt Stafford and put him in like the average category. I feel like he's slightly above. And we have Ryan Tannehill next up, who is of course the new Titans backup. Could he potentially take over for Marcus Mariota? We will see. I'm going to put him right now in the unknown category. I feel like he had some very good seasons, but recently, not so much. And of course, next up is going to be Tom Brady, which Tom Brady to me is going to be above Patrick Mahomes. The only reason I'm putting there is because the man is an absolute monster, does it year after year, and Patrick Mahomes is an absolute beast. He might be the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Like in terms of how far can he throw the ball, how accurately can he throw the ball, he might just be a top 2 or 3 thrower of the football, but until someone dethrones Brady, you got to keep him in elite. Now we get into another quarterback that I definitely love, Deshaun Watson, and Watson is going to be borderline elite for me. He's going to be like probably the lowest of the borderline elite quarterbacks. Next up is going to be Carson Wentz, who has definitely had some injury problems as of recently, but when Carson Wentz, when he plays, is an above average quarterback to me. He is above Nick Foles, right below Mitch, maybe even above Mitch Trubisky, honestly. This is kind of how the list is looking. And next up, we have 4 rookies, and I feel like this would be unfair for me to even rank these guys, so I'm just going to go ahead and put all 4 of the rookies in the unknown category because obviously they are unknown. If you wanted me to rank the rookie quarterbacks as to how I think they will do, though, I'm actually going to put Dwayne Haskins number 1, Kyler Murray 2, and then I'll put Drew Lock and then Daniel Jones. So this is my list of the NFL's top quarterbacks. Maybe you think I have too many elite quarterbacks and not enough borderline elite. It kind of looks like that. Maybe I could actually put, no. You know, I'm going to keep it like that. I feel like that's a pretty solid list. Let me know down below your opinions on who you think I should move around for this list to make it your list. And let me know down below who do you think is the elite top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. I'll see you guys next time.